Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Ambassador, for your very valued leadership. I know how you worked in a cooperative, bipartisan fashion with Ambassador Lighthizer in order to secure an important trade agreement in this hemisphere, and I appreciate the cooperative spirit that you bring here today. I very much favor expanding trade so long as it is worker-centered and environment is protected, and that includes Asia. Now, I've been over personally to the secure room, left my phone outside, didn't tell anybody what I read to see the provisions that are being negotiated now with trading partners in Asia. I guess the first concern I have is why that process is necessary. These documents have been shared with our foreign trading partners, with stakeholders, but not with the American people. And I think we would be better off if the language was public. Second concern I have, even greater, is that I found the language to be good, helpful with regard to the environment, with regard to workers, but so long as it's not enforceable, it's really fairly meaningless. And the only way to make it enforceable is to engage the Congress more directly in setting up that enforcement mechanism and honoring our constitutional responsibility. And I hope you will continue to advocate that point of view to others in the administration who may not share it. One specific success from the USMCA was a significant limitation on the use of the investor-state dispute provision. While it is important to protect investors and American companies from systems that are not fair to them in other countries, there has been clear abuse. And I appreciate the fact that this administration and you have indicated that you will continue to exclude such abusive provisions from future trade agreements. However, there are still a large number of investor-state dispute settlement provisions in existing trade arrangements. I'm concerned about one particular example of abuse, and that's in Honduras, where a U.S. company, Prospera Inc., is suing the Honduran government for close to $11 billion, nearly two-thirds of the country's annual budget, questioning whether they should have a private court system, essentially a country within a country. Or is the administration, are you evaluating existing use of investor-state dispute provisions to see if they are consistent with a new 21st century trade policy?
Well, thank you for all of your observations and your insights, Mr. Doggett. They mean quite a lot to me. On this particular question in reevaluating existing trade agreements and how they line up with our current practice, I think in this area and a number of others as well, we know that there's been an evolution in our practice, and our older trade agreements reflect a previous era of how we've negotiated trade agreements. This issue comes up from time to time. Let me take this back and give it a little bit more thought. It's not that we haven't thought about it, but it hasn't been a major area of focus.
Well,
but
thank
let me
you very
take
much.
this back.
And I hope you will review it, and particularly the situation in Honduras with this whole private government structure. As you know, one of my longstanding concerns going back to at least the Obama administration has been the enforcement of our agreement with Peru as a part of the overall concern about the destruction of the world's rainforest and the impact that that has on our planet. The Obama administration failed to enforce provisions that we negotiated for audits on illegal timber harvest in Peru. The Trump administration expressed concern about it, but failed to secure an audit. Obviously, the Peruvian government has been in turmoil and chaos for recent months, but can you give me any update on the enforcement of these provisions against illegal logging in Peru and its consideration in new agreements you're negotiating?
Mr. Doggett, it remains very high on my radar. As you've noted, the current turmoil in Peru is something that informs our approach to raising issues around this trade agreement. But I also wanted to share with you that the logging annex in the Peru trade agreement continues to be a touchstone for how we are thinking about issues like deforestation, especially around the Amazon.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr.